Mr. DJ resuming countdown my fantasy playlist October 1st, 1995. Natalie Merchant making a big splash as a solo artist at 1995. Carnival, the name of the song. And walking down the streets of New York City taking pictures and in black and white too. As a matter of fact, I remember Alanis Morissette also had a video. I believe it was called You Learn. That was also shot in black and white. That was in the summer, late summer of 1995. But several months later, we got Natalie Merchant on my fantasy playlist at number 12, October 1st, 1995. I remember Natalie Merchant when she was at 10,000 Maniacs. They did a version of Tonight's the Night, the Patti Smith record in 1993, late 92, 93. But going back, like the weather. I remember I was working at a nightclub. I used to play Like the Weather back in 1989 as a sort of a happy hour song. There was a happy hour like between 8 until 9 o'clock before you get into the dance music, and I used to play Like the Weather. It's just basically just kind of a radio friendly song. Like the Weather. Peace Train, another song that 10,000 Maniacs did, their remake of the Cat Stevens record in 1988. There was another one they did, but the name doesn't come to me right offhand. But anyway, we got Natalie Merchant with Carnival, which did pretty well for her. She formed 10,000 Maniacs in 1981, all the way back to 1981, and she left the group to pursue a solo career in 1993. She grew up in a rural area of New York. It was called Jamestown, south of Buffalo. She went to New York City for the first time when she was 16, and it was a mind-blowing experience going from the country to one of the biggest cities in the world. And there was a carnival going on at that time. It was called Stockton Gala Days. One item that really blew Natalie Merchant away was people were eating while they were walking in the streets of New York. You didn't do that out in the country. You sat down to take your meal. And she resolved that one day she will move to New York. Here's a quote by Natalie Merchant as she talked about New York, talked about this record. A quote. Uh, it's not a car culture. Here comes the quote. It's not a car culture here. I like that. People have to rub against each other. I like to take the subway. I like to study people's faces, try to imagine their stories. And the song, I see the city as a stage, as a spectacle, as a carnival, and as a madhouse. Because sometimes it is that. It is a totally insane place to live, approaching Shakespearean levels of some of the quotes. When I was 16, and when she visited for the first time, I said, I'm going to live here someday. The quote unquote Natalie Merchant about New York City. Definitely a New York record. It's on my fantasy playlist, Carnival at number 12, October 1st, 1995. Natalie Merchant.